Welcome back to Mr. Harvey, motivational speech, ladies and gentlemen. Complaining drains energy, action creates change. Every time a person opens their mouth to complain, they are spending precious energy on words that do nothing to move them forward. Think about it. Every moment of frustration that's spoken out loud, every sigh, every why me, is a withdrawal from your energy bank. You're burning fuel, but you're not going anywhere. It's like pressing your foot on the gas while your car is still in park. The engine roars, but you're not moving an inch. That's what complaining does. It robs you of the very force you need to stand up, push through, and change your reality. Now, when you take that same energy and flip it into action, everything shifts. The same breath that says, "I can't believe this is happening to me," could be used to say, "Okay, what's my next move?" That change of focus is the bridge between staying stuck and stepping forward. Action doesn't have to be huge to be powerful. Sometimes it's as simple as making one phone call, sending one email, practicing one new skill, or choosing to keep going for one more day. Small actions stacked consistently create unstoppable momentum. People often waste years of their life trapped in the cycle of complaining because it feels easier than acting. Complaining gives a temporary sense of release. You get to vent, you get to point fingers, you get to justify why things are the way they are. But after that release, nothing changes. The bills are still on the table, the job still feels the same, the dream is still out of reach. Complaining doesn't move you closer to what you want. It cements you deeper into what you don't want. On the other hand, action requires courage, discipline, and risk. That's why fewer people choose it. Action forces you to step into the unknown, to face the possibility of failure, to expose yourself to growth. But it is only through action that change ever takes place. A person who keeps moving, even if they stumble, is always further ahead than the one who sits still, blaming life for their problems. Complaining also rewires your mind in the wrong direction. The more you do it, the more your brain gets conditioned to look for what's wrong instead of what's possible. It's like putting a filter over your eyes that only lets you see problems, obstacles, and reasons why you can't, but action rewires your brain in the opposite direction. Every step you take, no matter how small, strengthens your belief that progress is possible. Every move forward tells your subconscious, "I'm capable. I can change this. I am not stuck." And when belief grows, energy multiplies and momentum builds. There's also a spiritual law at play here. What you focus on expands. Complain about lack, and lack seems to multiply. Take action toward abundance, and doors begin to open. Complain about being tired, and you feel even more drained. Take action to rest. Fuel your body or move it, and suddenly you feel recharged. Life responds to action, not to whining. Some people say, "But you don't know how hard my situation is." That may be true. But here's the reality. Hard situations don't get easier through complaining. If anything, they grow heavier. Complaining magnifies the weight, but action lightens it. Action shifts perspective. Action creates options. Even if it doesn't solve everything immediately, it creates movement, and movement brings hope. And hope is the fuel that keeps people alive. Think about the difference between two people in the same storm. One is sitting under the rain, shouting about how unfair it is, pointing at the clouds and staying soaked. The other pulls out whatever they've got, maybe a torn umbrella, maybe just a jacket over their head, and starts walking toward shelter. Both are in the rain, but only one is on the way out of it. The storm didn't pick favorites. The difference is the choice between complaining and acting. Your energy is limited every single day. You wake up with a certain amount in the tank. If you spend half of it on whining about the boss, the spouse, the traffic, the weather, the economy, then don't be surprised when you have nothing left to actually build your dream. But if you redirect that energy, protect it like it's valuable currency, and invest it into action, then watch how fast things start to shift. Winners are not people who never feel like complaining. They're people who refuse to stay in that place. They may acknowledge the problem, but they don't let it drain them. They pivot quickly into solutions. They know energy is life, and life is too short to waste it on noise that doesn't create change. Every ounce of energy poured into action comes back multiplied. Every ounce of energy poured into complaining comes back empty. The most powerful shift a person can make is this: stop rehearsing the problem and start rehearsing the solution. Stop telling everyone why it's hard and start telling yourself why it's possible. Stop magnifying what's wrong and start magnifying what you can do right now. Because the moment you turn your complaining into action, the same energy that once drained you becomes the very force that lifts you higher. Winners face the same storms but choose a different mindset. No one gets a free pass from life's challenges. The wealthy, the poor, the educated, the uneducated, the young, and the old. Storms visit everyone. Loss, rejection, failure, betrayal, financial struggle, sickness, disappointment. These are storms that sweep across humanity with no warning. But what separates one person who rises from another who collapses under the same weight is not the size of the storm. It's the strength of the mindset. The mindset of a complainer sees storms as proof that life is unfair. They dwell on the question, why me? They replay the pain, rehearse the setback, and magnify the difficulty until it becomes bigger than possibility itself. To them, the storm is the end. They believe the clouds mean the sun is gone forever. But winners look at storms through a different lens. They understand storms don't last. They know the thunder may roar and the rain may pour, but the sky is temporary and light is on the other side. Their mindset isn't shaped by the present condition. It's anchored in the vision of where they're headed. Winners face storms with faith instead of fear. Where others see obstacles, winners see opportunities to grow stronger. They understand that storms test roots, not branches. A tree that survives the storm doesn't come out weaker, it comes out more deeply planted. Winners embrace storms because they know pressure produces resilience, and resilience produces greatness. They don't avoid the storm, they learn how to walk through it. Mindset is everything in a storm. Two people can lose the same job on the same day. One spirals into despair, convinced their future is ruined, convinced they have no options. The other uses the job loss as a wake-up call, dusts themselves off, updates their skills, and discovers a new path they might have never considered otherwise. The job loss didn't pick sides. It was neutral. The outcome was decided by mindset. Winners train their minds before storms ever arrive. They feed themselves with positive words, visions of victory, faith in their purpose, so when the storm hits, they are not starting from empty. They have reserves of belief to draw from. They don't wait until the storm comes to decide how they'll think. They've already conditioned themselves to face difficulty with determination. Just like athletes practice before the championship, winners prepare their mindset daily, so when the storm comes, they don't crumble, they compete. Another secret about storms is this: storms reveal character. They don't just shake circumstances, they shake foundations. Winners know that storms expose what you really believe. Anyone can smile when the sun is shining, when the bank account is full, when the health report is clear. But when it rains hard, when the money runs out, when the people you trusted walk away, that's when the mindset you've built shows up. Winners use storms to prove to themselves and the world that they can withstand what others cannot. The mindset of a winner refuses to surrender control to the storm. While others let fear, doubt, and worry take the wheel, winners take back the wheel with perspective. They remind themselves that storms are temporary teachers. Each gust of wind carries a lesson. Each drop of rain has a message. They know that when they walk out of it, they will not be the same. They will be stronger, wiser, sharper, and more prepared for the next level. Winners also choose gratitude in storms. They focus on what's left, not just on what was lost. Gratitude shifts their attention from despair to possibility. Gratitude reminds them they still have breath, they still have time, they still have strength to fight. This mindset doesn't deny the reality of the storm, it simply chooses not to be drowned by it. Gratitude is their umbrella in the rain. When the storm comes, the loser's question is, why is this happening to me? The winner's question is, what is this teaching me? That small shift of mindset determines destiny. One stays stuck, the other evolves. Winners don't see storms as punishment, they see them as preparation. They believe that nothing is wasted, not even pain. Every storm is shaping them into someone who can handle the victory waiting on the other Winners choose to focus on the future, not the frustration. They set their eyes on the shore beyond the waves. They understand that the same storm sinking one person's boat is carrying theirs to the next level. They remind themselves that rain grows crops, winds clear paths, and storms forge roots to deepen. They don't just survive storms, they leverage them. Storms are equalizers in life, but mindset is the separator. Everyone gets wet when it rains, but not everyone lets the rain drown them. Some dance in it, some build in it, some grow in it. Winners choose to frame storms as part of the process, not the end of the story. They know the clouds will clear, but in the meantime, their mindset determines whether they endure or collapse. Silence the victim in you to unleash the victor. Every person carries two voices inside them, the voice of the victim and the voice of the victor. Victim's voice is loud, emotional, and persistent. It says, life is unfair, you've been wronged, it's not your fault, you can't move forward. It whispers excuses that sound reasonable and sings lullabies that keep you comfortable in stagnation. The victor's voice, on the other hand, is calm but powerful. It says, yes, you've been hurt, yes, you've been challenged, but you are stronger than this. You can rise, you can fight. You can win. The battle is not external, it's within. Until the victim inside is silenced, the victor inside cannot step fully into the light. The victim in you thrives on blame. It points fingers at the past, at circumstances, at people, at systems. It convinces you that your power has been stolen and there is nothing you can do to change your situation. It thrives on retelling the story of what went wrong, rehearsing wounds like a script and reminding you of every failure. The more you feed the victim, the more it grows, until it chains you to your own story of defeat. But the moment you decide to starve that voice and stop giving it attention, the victor begins to rise. The victor does not deny pain or pretend hardships didn't happen. The victor simply refuses to let them define the future. The victor chooses responsibility over blame. Responsibility says, what happened may not have been my fault, but how I respond is my choice. That single shift of power, from I can't to I will, is the key that unlocks the door between victimhood and victory. Responsibility is not a burden, it is freedom. It means no matter what was done to you, you are not powerless. You still hold the ability to decide what happens next. Silencing the victim is not about ignoring wounds, it's about refusing to worship them. Too many people build altars around their pain and bow to it daily. They recite stories of betrayal, rejection, or loss until those stories become their entire identity. But identity rooted in victimhood cannot carry the weight of victory. The victor inside you is waiting for you to let go of the old narrative so it can write a new one. The victim seeks sympathy, the victor seeks solutions. Sympathy feels good for a moment, but it doesn't change anything. Solutions require courage, effort, and action, but they open the door to transformation. When you silence the victim, you stop chasing pity and start chasing progress. You stop telling the world how unfair life has been and start showing the world how powerful resilience can be. Victor thrives in adversity. Every setback becomes fuel. Every failure becomes a lesson. Every obstacle becomes an opportunity. The victor does not waste time wishing life were easier. It uses the difficulty as training. Just like muscles grow under pressure, the victor grows under struggle. Victim sees the weight and cries about how heavy it is. The victor picks it up, lifts it again and again, and emerges stronger. Silencing the victim requires discipline. That voice will always try to creep back in, especially in moments of weakness. It will remind you of everything you lack, everything you lost, everything that's wrong. The key is to recognize it quickly and shut it down before it takes root. Replace it with affirmations of power, with visions of victory, with reminders of how far you've already come. You cannot control the fact that the victim's voice will try to speak, but you can control whether you let it run the conversation. Another truth is that the victim in you fears responsibility because responsibility requires effort. It's easier to say, I can't, than it is to get up and try again. But the victor knows effort is the price of freedom. Every step taken in responsibility weakens the grip of victimhood. Every decision to rise instead of whine, to act instead of complain, to build instead of blame, shifts you closer to the life you were designed to live. The victor inside you doesn't just affect you, it inspires others. When people see someone who has been through storms, faced loss, endured hardship, and still chose victory, they find courage for their own journey. Victors create a ripple effect of strength. Victims, on the other hand, spread helplessness. By silencing the victim and unleashing the victor, you're not only transforming your life, you're giving permission for others to believe transformation is possible for them too. The victim keeps you in the past, replaying what went wrong. The victor pulls you into the future, creating what can go right. The victim clings to excuses, but the victor creates results. The victim complains about the darkness, the victor lights a candle and moves forward. The choice between the two is made every single day in every single decision. Silencing the victim is not about a single moment, it is a daily discipline. Every morning you decide which voice will dominate. Will you listen to the one that says, stay in bed, stay afraid, stay angry, stay small? Or will you listen to the one that says, get up, push forward, keep going, grow bigger? Each day you starve the victor grows louder. Each day you choose strength, the victor gains more ground. There will always be reasons to play the victim. Life will always hand out trials that tempt you to feel powerless. But reasons are not rulers. You decide who rules your life. The victor inside you has been waiting for the chance to lead, to build, to conquer. But it cannot rise until the victim is silenced, and when you finally shut down that voice of defeat, you will unleash a force inside you that no storm, no setback, no betrayal, no loss can hold back. The moment you stop whining, you start winning. Whining is the language of surrender, the anthem of stagnation, the habit that keeps people chained to same problems year after year. It may feel natural to complain when life gets tough, but whining never solves a problem. It does not pay the bills, it does not heal wounds, it does not create opportunities. All whining does is recycle pain, recycle frustration, and recycle defeat. Every time you whine, you are rehearsing the problem instead of rehearsing the solution. But the moment you stop wasting breath on complaints and start using that same energy to take action, you immediately position yourself on the path to winning. Winning requires focus, and whining scatters focus. When you whine, your mind locks on what is wrong, what is missing, and what is unfair. It magnifies the negative until that is all you can see. But when you choose to stop whining, your vision clears. You begin to see possibilities you couldn't see before. Solutions that were always around you suddenly appear because you're no longer blinded by your own words of defeat. Your mindset shifts from victimhood to victory, and with that shift, doors open that were invisible when you were stuck in complaint. Winners are not people who have easier lives, fewer struggles, or lighter burdens. Winners are people who made a choice. They decided that complaining wasn't going to carry them anywhere. They stopped giving attention to what was broken and started putting energy into building something better. That decision is often the turning point between people who stay stuck and people who move forward. The circumstances may look the same, but the outcome is determined by whether they continue whining or whether they finally decide to rise and act. Whining drains energy that you desperately need for progress. Every ounce of energy you give to complaining is an ounce of energy that could have been invested into action. Think of energy like currency. You can either spend it on complaints that bring no return, or you can invest it into actions that multiply and bring growth. The moment you stop whining, you're no longer throwing your energy away. Instead, you're redirecting it into something productive, something that can build, something that can actually change your situation. That's why the transition from whining to winning is immediate. The shift begins the second you change how you use your energy. People often believe they will stop whining once their situation improves, but truth is, the situation improves once they stop whining. Complaining keeps you stuck in the same cycle because you are feeding the problem with your words and your focus. But action creates momentum, and momentum changes conditions. Even small steps toward growth are more powerful than hours of complaining about why things are hard. Winning is not about waiting for perfect conditions. It's about creating progress in imperfect ones. The moment you stop whining, you also take back your power. Whining is a declaration of helplessness, an announcement that you've given control to circumstances, people, or problems. But winners reclaim that control. They say, "This may not be easy, but I will not stay stuck." I will do what I can with what I have from where I am. That declaration shifts your identity from a powerless victim to a powerful creator. Life bends differently for people who refuse to bow down to complaints. Another truth about whining is that it pushes people away. Nobody wants to invest in, promote, or follow someone who constantly complains. Opportunities often bypass the whiner and land in the lap of the one who keeps moving forward without excuses. When you stop whining, you attract solutions, support, and even people who want to help you win, because action is magnetic while complaints are repellent. The moment you silence your whining, you not only lift your own spirit, but also create an environment where others believe in your potential. Winners understand that whining is a habit, and habits can be broken. Every time you catch yourself about to complain and choose action instead, you are rewiring your brain. You're training yourself to respond differently to challenges. You're building resilience, persistence, and mental toughness. Eventually, the habit of action becomes stronger than the habit of whining, and at that point, winning becomes your default mode. Storms will still come, problems will still arise, disappointments will still happen, but when whining is no longer your response, those challenges lose their power over you. Instead of crying over the storm, you build a boat. Instead of lamenting the loss, you search for what can still be gained. Instead of pointing out how unfair life is, you use that same energy to prove how strong you can be. And with every action, no matter how small, you build momentum that whining could never give you. The moment you stop whining is also the moment you begin to see yourself differently. You no longer identify as the one who is stuck, the one who is unlucky, the one who can't catch a break. You start identifying as the one who finds a way, the one who rises, the one who refuses to be defeated. And when your identity changes, your destiny follows. Life begins to reflect the mindset you've chosen, and winning becomes a lifestyle instead of a distant dream. Whining is easy, winning is earned. But the beautiful truth is, the bridge between the two is shorter than most realize. It's not about waiting for a miracle or hoping someone rescues you. It's about deciding to stop pouring energy into complaints and start pouring it into solutions. The second you make that decision, you've already taken your first step into victory. That's why the shift happens in a moment, because the choice is immediate. The moment you stop whining, you start winning.